U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth removes the U.S. Army chief as the Iran war enters a more dangerous phase. Was General Randy George fired because he said no to an Iran ground invasion, a decision that may have challenged the administration's plans? Hegseth's so-called yes man takes over just as the 82nd Airborne heads toward war, signaling a major shift in military leadership. Trump says the Iran war could be completed soon, even as the Pentagon's top brass is being purged in a dramatic shakeup.
Tonight, I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion. As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors who have laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran.
In the middle of America's biggest war in decades, the Army Chief of Staff has been forced out, adding another major shakeup to an already volatile moment. CBS reports that U.S. Defense Secretary asked Army Chief of Staff General Randy George to retire immediately, marking a sudden and unexpected exit. CBS News, citing 3 sources, reported that Hegseth fired General George, intensifying questions about what triggered the move. Hegseth allegedly called General George on April 2nd and told him to retire immediately, offering no explanation for the decision. According to CBS, a source said Hegseth wanted a chief who would implement Donald Trump and his vision more directly. A senior defense official said it was time for a leadership change in the U.S. Army, framing the removal as part of a broader reset. General George was nominated by Joe Biden and confirmed in 2023, with his term originally set to run through 2027. The Army Chief of Staff's term is 4 years, but General George was removed in the middle of the Iran war, making the decision especially controversial. General George, a West Point graduate, served in Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan, bringing decades of battlefield experience to the role. General George also served as senior military assistant to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin in the Biden administration, building a close connection to Pentagon leadership. Reuters reports that, apart from Randy George, Major General William Green Jr. and General David Haughton were also fired in the broader shakeup. Reuters says the action is part of an overhaul aimed at installing military personnel aligned with the U.S. government's vision. The Joint Staff thanked Randy George for his service following his forced retirement, closing his tenure with a formal statement of appreciation. The current Vice Chief of Staff, General Christopher Laneve, was named acting Army Chief of Staff after the sudden leadership change. Laneve previously served as Hegseth's military aide and commanded the 82nd Airborne Division from 2022 to 2023. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell described Laneve as a battle-tested leader who is completely trusted by Hegseth. The shakeup comes as 82nd Airborne troops and Marines from the 31st MEU are being deployed near Iran. Analysts say an Army chief is not fired in the middle of a war for no reason, suggesting deeper motives behind the move. One analyst said an Army chief is fired because of what comes next in a major combat operation, pointing to the larger strategy ahead. George is the latest in a wave of more than a dozen top officers removed by Hegseth, signaling an unusually aggressive purge at the top. The purged list includes Joint Chiefs Chair General C.Q. Brown and Navy Chief Admiral Lisa Franchetti, 2 of the military's most senior leaders. Air Force Vice Chief General James Slife and Defense Intelligence Agency Head Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz were also removed in the broader shakeup. Officials say the Department of War is undergoing a deep leadership reset amid the Iran conflict, as the Pentagon changes course at a critical moment. The shakeup comes as Trump claimed the U.S. war objective against Iran is nearing completion, adding political weight to the military overhaul.
We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth. Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible, and they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out, we took them all out, so that no one would really dare stop them. and their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion. As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors who have laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran. Twice this past month, I've traveled to Dover Air Force Base, and it's been something. I wanted to be with those heroes as they return to American soil, and I was with them and their families, their parents, their wives, their husbands. We salute them, and now we must honor them by completing the mission for which they gave their lives. And every single one of the people, their loved ones said, "Please, sir, please finish the job," every one of them. And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. This short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to decades of extortion, economic pain, and instability worse than we can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared economically to confront this threat. You all know that. We built the strongest economy in history.